It's just still a paradox, isn't it? We're being told, and the math supports these tariffs have been out there for months at this point, not the enormous tariffs that were initially announced to kind of shock the system and bring people to the negotiating table. But there's certainly higher tariffs than we've had in many decades in effect right now. And you're seeing the surplus at the Treasury. They're bringing in that cash, yet prices, have not broken north of kind of that 2.5 to 3% inflation number year over year. So it's being absorbed somewhere for the time being, or it's being worked around, or we're still waiting for it really to hit, right?
Right. I mean, you see the almost vertical line on the graph for, tariff revenues going into the Treasury this year. They've raised already over $100 billion this year in tariff revenue. But yeah, prices at the checkout counter aren't much worse than the same time last year for the consumer. So what you have to imagine is that, as we've kind of talked about on the show multiple times now, is that for the time being, companies are just absorbing it themselves, just trying to be that last mover when it comes to finally having to price them forward into the market, the counter. Yeah, for the time being, it's kind of just business as usual. On the topic of tariffs, we are approaching that August 1st deadline, which every member of the administration is saying is the final deadline there. They're saying we'll continue to negotiate after August 1st, but all the numbers we've thrown out there will go into effect August 1st, and you'll begin paying those rates on August 1st. And, we're still lacking deals with our largest trading partners. China comes to mind. We've touched on them. They put together a framework back in April, but as far as I'm aware, Xi and Trump haven't personally signed off on it, which is what's necessary to get that framework into reality. Then kind of the EU is the major trading zone that we've been talking about, or the news has been talking about in the recent days. They're facing down 30% tariffs come August 1st. Some of their finance ministers were saying anywhere in the range of 15 to 20 would be pretty devastating to their export volume. So there's definitely, I think this goes for every country, but there's incentive to get a deal done. We'll see what gets done here in the next 10 days or so.